For the last 1,000 years, Europe's royal families have habitually intermarried. Why? They did it to establish dynasties and preserve royal wealth within their family.
And in the custom of Egyptian royal families, both rulers, brother and sister, were to be married to each other.
Over time, however, it can result in a genetic nightmare. Join us as we look at the most inbred women in history. Isabella II of Spain. Isabella II of Spain sprung from a lineage that practiced inbreeding, which was popular among European royal families in the 19th century and earlier. She was born into the House of Bourbon, a powerful royal dynasty that ruled both Spain and France. Her family tree contained numerous examples of cousin marriages, which were frequently utilized to consolidate authority and preserve royal bloodlines. Isabella's father, King Ferdinand VII of Spain, was married 4 times. Her mother was Maria Cristina of the Two Sicilies, a cadet branch of Italy's Bourbon dynasty. Marriages among royal and noble families were frequently between close cousins, increasing the risk of genetic disorders caused by inbreeding. Inbreeding increases the risk of genetic illnesses by increasing the frequency of homozygosity for harmful genes. While there isn't much information available on Isabella's health or the direct effects of inbreeding in her case, royal families like hers frequently had a variety of health issues because of their interrelated breeding methods. Inbreeding was widespread among European monarchies as a means of maintaining pure lineages and strengthening royal claims. It wasn't until later centuries that the ramifications of marrying close relatives became more generally known, and royal families began to exercise greater caution in their marital patterns. Isabella II's pedigree and birth into a royal dynasty with a history of cousin marriages reflect the larger background of European dynastic politics, in which inbreeding was frequent. This background influenced the genetic health of royal families, albeit the effects on Isabella's health or her progeny are not fully documented in historical documents. Mary Louise of Austria. Marie Louise of Austria was the daughter of Holy Roman Emperor Francis II and Maria Theresa of Austria. She rose to prominence after marrying French Emperor Napoleon Bonaparte. Marie Louise was born into the Habsburg family, which is noted for extensive intermarriage among European royal families. The Habsburgs frequently married close cousins to maintain their power and alliances, resulting in a well-documented history of inbreeding within the dynasty. Her parents, Francis II and Maria Theresa, were not considered close relatives by modern standards, but the Habsburgs had a long history of marrying within royal European families, including cousins. Inbreeding, especially among royal families, might increase the risk of genetic abnormalities and health problems. The Habsburgs, including Marie Louise's predecessors, are well known for specific health issues, such as the characteristic Habsburg jaw, a notable physical trait caused by years of inbreeding. Marie Louise and Napoleon Bonaparte married in 1810 as part of a political partnership. The marriage was intended to promote ties between France and Austria. Their union was crucial politically, given the backdrop of the Napoleonic Wars and shifting alliances in Europe. Marie Louise and Napoleon had 2 children, including a son known as Napoleon II, or the Duke of Reichstadt. The progeny of such marriages was frequently expected to solidify power, but the genetic consequences of their origin were not well understood in her day. While Marie Louise was not the consequence of close consanguinity, her offspring in the Habsburg dynasty represented a larger trend of intermarriage among European royals, which carries hereditary health risks. Marie Louise of Austria's lineage links her to the legacy of inbreeding common among European royal families, particularly the Habsburg dynasty. Concerns about health and genetics are part of the historical background for her ancestry and the larger practice of royal marrying. Her paternal relationships, however, did not include strong inbreeding to the amount found in some other European royals, but she did come from a dynasty famed for its intricate marital alliances, which frequently featured near relatives. The Whitaker Family. The Whitaker family, which is primarily based in rural West Virginia, has received attention in talks regarding inbreeding due to the unique and difficult genetic abnormalities discovered in some members. The Whitakers are a family that has spent generations in a remote section of West Virginia. Due to their remoteness and the small size of their society, there have been cases of inbreeding, which occurs when close relatives marry and produce children. Members of the Whitaker family have demonstrated a variety of genetic diseases, which are frequently connected to inbreeding. These disorders can include physical and developmental disabilities, sparking debate concerning inherited health risks related with consanguinity. The Whitaker family's geographic seclusion has resulted in a limited genetic pool. In small, isolated societies, genetic diversity is low, increasing the chance of inbreeding. This seclusion has had an impact on social connections in the neighborhood. The Whitaker family has received media attention, with the primary focus on their living conditions and the health consequences of inbreeding. This exposure has raised greater awareness of the consequences of inbreeding in isolated groups. Discussions about inbreeding in the Whitaker family pose ethical concerns about privacy, representation, and how such issues are covered in the media. It is critical to approach the subject delicately, considering both the individuals involved and the larger social context. The Whitaker family exemplifies the numerous challenges involving inbreeding, including genetic, sociological, and ethical considerations. Their experience underscores the consequences of secluded communities, as well as the importance of knowing and supporting people with genetic illnesses. Maria I of Portugal. Maria I of Portugal, popularly known as Infanta of Spain, was the Queen of Portugal from 1777 to her death. She was the first woman to bear the title of Queen Regent in Portugal. Her life and reign are frequently examined in terms of inbreeding, owing to her family history. She was the daughter of King Joseph I of Portugal and Queen Maria Anna of Austria. Her lineage linked her to the Habsburg and Portuguese royal dynasties. Her mother's dynasty, the Habsburgs, was known for inbreeding, frequently marrying close cousins to protect their lineages. This resulted in a tendency of inbreeding within European royal houses. As mentioned previously, the Habsburgs suffered from a number of well-documented health problems linked to inbreeding, including physical abnormalities and mental health concerns. Maria I developed mental health concerns later in life, which some historians and medical professionals believe were related to her ancestry. She experienced periods of mental illness, particularly during the political upheaval and invasion of Portugal by Napoleon's army in the early 1800s. She married her first cousin, Prince Pedro of Brazil, carrying on the tradition of cousin weddings within royal dynasties. Their union strengthened the bonds between the Portuguese and Brazilian royal families, while also highlighting the repercussions of royal marriages. The Enlightenment, the collapse of colonial power, and the Napoleonic Wars all posed significant obstacles during her reign. Portugal saw major political and social transformation during this period. Due to her declining mental state, her son, Prince John, effectively reigned as regent beginning in 1799. Maria I died in 1816, leaving a complex legacy that intertwined the histories of Portugal and Brazil. Her life and reign were influenced by the historical backdrop of royal marrying, particularly the practices of the Habsburg dynasty. Marie-Louise Elizabeth d'Orléans. Marie-Louise Elizabeth d'Orléans was a French noblewoman who belonged to the House of Orléans, a cadet branch of the French royal family. She was also a member of a lineage that practiced marriages among European aristocrats, which included some inbreeding. She was the daughter of Philippe II, Duke of Orléans, and Françoise Marie de Bourbon. Her father served as the regent of France for King Louis XV, while her mother was a legitimate daughter of King Louis XIV and his lover, Madame de Montespan. Marie-Louise married Louis de Bourbon-Condé, the Duke of Bourbon, in 1734. This marriage connected her to the House of Bourbon, which has a long history of intermarriage with other royal and noble houses in France and throughout Europe. The Bourbon dynasty frequently used cousin marriages and other forms of intermarriage to maintain power and strengthen allies. While there is no specific record demonstrating that Marie-Louise Elizabeth suffered directly from inbreeding, the larger background of her family implies that the practice contributed to a variety of genetic diseases among the European aristocracy. These issues encompassed both physical and mental health concerns. The House of Orléans has experienced health concerns associated to inbreeding strains. Marie-Louise Elizabeth and Louis de Bourbon-Condé had several children, some of whom perpetuated the tradition of aristocratic mating. This maintained the survival of their bloodlines, while also perpetuating the related genetic dangers. While Marie-Louise Elizabeth was not as well known in history as some of her other relatives, her marriage and family connections helped shape the complicated web of alliances among European nobility. Princess Alexia of Greece. Princess Alexia of Greece and Denmark is a Greek royal princess and the daughter of King Constantine II of Greece and Queen Anne-Marie of Denmark. While there are no recognized or recorded difficulties with Princess Alexia's inbreeding, her royal heritage connects her to a lengthy tradition of marrying among European royalty, which frequently involves close cousins. Princess Alexia is a descendant of several European royal dynasties. Her father, King Constantine II, is a member of the House of Glucksburg, while her mother, Queen Anne-Marie, is a descendant of the Danish and Greek monarchy. For ages, European royal dynasties have married close relatives to maintain power, alliances, and pure bloodlines. Princess Alexia's extended family includes several cousin marriages, as is usual among European royalty. Her parents, for example, are linked to several other royal families, including the British and Russian royal dynasties, further intertwining their family lines. While specific health concerns or genetic abnormalities associated with inbreeding are not well documented in Princess Alexia's case, it is worth mentioning that many royal dynasties throughout history have encountered health issues because of their marital practices. Princess Alexia has had a very secluded life compared to some other royals, pursuing a profession as an artist. She married Carlos Morales Quintana and had 3 children. Their lifestyles are characterized by a combination of royal tradition and contemporary social participation. While Princess Alexia of Greece is descended from a lineage that has historically engaged in marrying, particular recorded incidences or health consequences of inbreeding in her family are not publicly available. Maria Antonia of Austria. Maria Antonia of Austria, also known as Marie Antoinette, was the last queen of France before the French Revolution and is best known for her extravagant lifestyle and terrible fate. Her background and pedigree reflect the historical practice of inbreeding that was popular among European royal houses. Marie Antoinette was Holy Roman Emperor Francis I's 15th child, with Empress Maria Theresa of Austria. Her family, a member of the Habsburg dynasty, was well known for its strategic marriages and a history of royal unions. The Habsburgs routinely married close cousins to maintain power and alliances. Cousin marriages were common in this tradition, which resulted in a variety of genetic diseases and health difficulties down the centuries. Because of the small gene pool, inbreeding can increase the risk of genetic illnesses. The Habsburgs, including Maria Antoinette's direct predecessors, were known for health difficulties, such as the well-documented Habsburg jaw, which was a prominent protruding jaw, and other physical issues. Marie Antoinette married Louis Auguste, later Louis XVI of France, in 1770. This marriage was organized for political motives to strengthen the connection between the Habsburgs and the French monarchs. While they were not close relatives, both came from households who practiced intermarriage, which was customary at the time. Marie Antoinette bore 4 children with Louis XVI. While the health risks deriving from her own ancestry may not have been immediately obvious in her children, the continued practice of marrying within royal families raised persistent concerns about genetic health among European nobles. Marie Antoinette's life was influenced by royal aspirations, political turbulence, and the ramifications of her family's history. Her tragic execution during the French Revolution was a tragic moment in French history, and her legacy continues to spark interest in the interplay of royalty, politics, and gender. Mummies 317, A and 317b. The name Mummies 317A and 317b refers to 2 distinct people whose mummified remains were discovered in the Shanxi culture of ancient Peru. Research on these mummies has concentrated on their burial customs, health, and genetic implications, including the likelihood of inbreeding within the population. These mummies were discovered during archaeological excavations in Peru, which is noted for its rich cultural heritage and sophisticated burial rituals. When researchers analyzed these mummies, they used a variety of methods, including radiological scans, to determine their health, injuries, and genetic ties. Genetic research on the mummies revealed that both mummies were likely related. DNA studies and physical assessments suggest that they were mother and son. When family members, particularly first-degree relatives, reproduce, there is a greater chance of inbreeding, which can lead to higher expression of genetic abnormalities or health problems due to the gene pool's low diversity. The examination of both mummies may indicate health concerns prevalent in societies with a history of inbreeding. For example, evidence of birth abnormalities or other health disorders may be connected to their tight genetic relationship. Certain mating customs within tiny communities of the Shanxi civilization, which flourished approximately between 1000 and 1470 AD, may have resulted in higher incidences of inbreeding, especially if the community was isolated or small. Marrying within close kin groupings can happen for a variety of reasons, such as retaining royal lineage or protecting family resources. Such behaviors may have long-term consequences for gene diversity and health. Mummies 317A and 317B provide an intriguing case study in the issue of inbreeding and genetic health in ancient civilizations. Their findings offer insight on the intricacies of familial relationships and health effects in ancient societies, like the Shanxi. Further study and conclusions from such studies can help experts better understand historical population genetics and the consequences of inbreeding in different cultural situations. Colt clan. The Colt clan, frequently connected with the name Colt or Colts, is a family recognized for its historical context in relation to a pattern of inbreeding, which has been the topic of curiosity and concern, primarily due to the many health difficulties observed in some of its members. The Colt family, which has mostly been mentioned in conversations about inbreeding, has frequently been emphasized in media and study on the effects of this practice in isolated societies. They are frequently connected with rural areas in America, where tiny populations can contribute to minimal genetic diversity. Marriages between relatives may occur in rural and family-centric communities due to a scarcity of available spouses outside the immediate family. This tendency can lead to inbreeding, which is defined by higher couplings between first and second cousins. Inbreeding can increase the risk of genetic abnormalities, physical deformities, mental health problems, and decreased fertility. Isolated groups may see a cumulative effect of these concerns over time. The Colt clan has been featured in documentaries and articles about inbreeding and its consequences. Such stories frequently focus on the health issues experienced by family members, as well as the broader societal repercussions. The portrayal of inbreeding within the Colt clan has called into question the ethics and obligations of media representation. Individuals from inbred families may experience several health issues, which are most likely related to the hereditary risks associated with reduced genetic diversity. Physical abnormalities, neurological difficulties, and developmental disorders are examples of documented health challenges, emphasizing the significance of genetic health knowledge in these communities. Discussions regarding the Colt clan and inbreeding invariably bring up ethical concerns about privacy, dignity, and the portrayal of impacted people in popular narratives. It is critical to address the subject with respect, acknowledging the genuine human experiences and obstacles that persons in communities affected by inbreeding encounter. The Colt clan is used as a case study to demonstrate the complexities of inbreeding, health, and the ethical concerns of media depiction. Cleopatra. Cleopatra is recognized as both a powerful female monarch and an attractive seductress who allegedly sneaked up on Julius Caesar by enveloping herself in a rug. However, the Cleopatra of popular culture has little to no resemblance to Egypt's true queen. In fact, today's audience may not even recognize her. Cleopatra was a Ptolemy, and as was traditional in that dynasty, her parents were brother and sister. In fact, monarchs were required to marry their sisters to achieve power. Cleopatra married her 10-year-old brother at the age of 18, and then married the other. Inbreeding was clear in her genetic line, and obesity was most certainly one of the consequences. Cleopatra was born in Egypt, but she traced her ancestors back to Macedonian Greece and Ptolemy I Soter, one of Alexander the Great's commanders. Following Alexander's death in 323 BC, Ptolemy controlled Egypt, establishing a 3-century dynasty of Greek-speaking kings. Despite not being of Egyptian descent, Cleopatra accepted many of her country's customary traditions and was the first member of the Ptolemaic line to study Egyptian. Members of the Ptolemaic dynasty, like many other royal houses, usually married within their own families to preserve the purity of their bloodline. More than a dozen of Cleopatra's predecessors married cousins or siblings, and her parents were almost certainly brother and sister. In accordance with this custom, Cleopatra eventually married both of her adolescent brothers, who served as her ceremonial spouse and co-regent at various stages during her reign. Power struggles and assassination plots were as common in Ptolemaic culture as family marriages, and Cleopatra and her siblings were no exception. Her first sibling husband, Ptolemy XIII, drove her out of Egypt after she sought to assume sole control of the throne, and the two later clashed in a civil war. Cleopatra regained the upper hand by joining forces with Julius Caesar, while Ptolemy drowned on the Nile River after being defeated in battle. Following the war, Cleopatra married her younger brother Ptolemy XIV. However, she was suspected of murdering him to make her son coroller. In 41 BC, she also ordered the assassination of her sister, Arsinoe, whom she considered a rival for the throne. Archaeologists revealed that many Egyptian royals were overweight, which was due in part to a diet rich in alcohol and bread. However, incest may have played an impact. Cleopatra had a hooked nose, a round face with fat hanging under her chin. Although Roman propaganda depicted her as the indomitable beauty we know today, she was not the Elizabeth Taylor who portrayed her in the 1963 film. I knew inbreeding was part of royal family life, but never at this level. What is your opinion on this subject? Why don't you let us know in the comments below? Well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us a like and let us know in the comments what you think. Check out our other videos and subscribe to be part of the fun. Click on the notification icon so you can see our new videos as soon as they're uploaded. Thank you for watching and see you next time.